Welcome to Painting Techniques. Alright, so if you notice, I have painted in overpainting and sgraffito. It's very important that these two get painted first because they will take the most time to dry. The next one you have to paint relatively early on is outline and fill in. You take either white or yellow, a light base color, and you're going to outline, just do the basic shape of whatever you want to paint in later. This is actually how we're going to be drawing in this section. So, I'm going to do this, drawing some shapes. It's okay, that went over into the other side. So this is, we're going to leave it alone, come back to this so it can dry. Overpainting means that you're painting directly on top of another color. If you notice, I'm literally painting over that other color. Same thing, overpainting, super easy. Okay, so washing your paintbrush. I'm going to change my colors. This is a water bucket. If you notice deep down in there, there are ridges. What you're doing is you're just trying to kind of rub your paintbrush against those ridges to get all the paint out of it. Make sure it's down on the ground. And then wipe this side of it on the side. Don't flick because no one likes getting dirty art water on their painting. Okay, make sure also when you are using it, you hold it with a hand. Alright, coming back for dry brush. You need a super dry brush for this. Barely any paint, almost no water for it. Tiny little bit on the end of your paintbrush. And you're just kind of creating a texture. Next thing is sponge painting. Make sure your sponge is nice and dry, and the person before you didn't leave it super wet. That means squeezing it out into your water bucket. Go for it. That means blotting it off on your paper towel and getting a bunch of that water out. Do it. When it's relatively dry. If you need a new paper towel, just get one, throw the current one in the trash. Take a paintbrush and you're going to paint directly on to that sponge. You're just painting a light coat onto the sponge. It's there to show texture. You're not trying to make perfect circles. Alright, so a little bit of paint. And now I'm going to put it down. And I'm going to lightly touch it to the table. And you can twist as you're doing it. Notice I had a lot of extra water in there. So that's what happens. Alright, so you get a nice sponge texture. This you normally do on top of something else. When you go to wash this out, you take your water bucket again, you put it down in there, twist, smush, 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 twist, rub it against those ridges, and then when you go to squeeze it out, squeeze, twist the whole thing, squeeze again, do that a few times. You're not actually twisting this, you're just squeezing it, trying to get all that water out. And wipe your fingers on the paper towel, blot that off on the paper towel, and leave it on the table for the next person. Okay, so, coming back, doing some blending. So blending is when you're taking two colors and you're making basically a third, fourth, and fifth in the middle. So, I have blending, washing out my paintbrush, wiping it on the side of my water bucket, and blotting it off on a paper towel. Now I'm going to leave a nice gap in between these two. And then I'm going to basically start to spread from one color to the other and then back again. It's basically a range of values that you're creating. You need to use more of one or both colors, go for it. But you should be able to see both colors clearly of what you started with in a smooth transition from one color to the next. Take a little bit more. Make sure that you are not completely losing one of your colors. I keep losing my yellow. Yellow and blue are difficult because they love to mix to make green. That's why you leave yourself a really good amount of room to do this. Alright. There we go. Okay. Next thing is dabbing. This is not a dance move. This is when you take your paintbrush, you put it directly down on the table, and you bring it up. Notice I have two colors on my paintbrush, so I get a little mixed effect. Totally fine. Where do you... Alright. Stippling. This is when you take the tip of your paintbrush and you do controlled dots somewhere. Great for showing texture, great for showing blades of grass, great for showing leaves, texture of an orange, whatever you're doing. Next is sgraffito. I need to wash out my paintbrush first because I just had blue and I don't want to cross-contaminate my paints and make my yellow green. So, this is dry at this point. It needs to be before I can do it. And then I'm going to paint directly on top of it. And then I will wind up flipping my paintbrush over and drawing into it to reveal the color underneath. So Sgraffito is super fun and adds a lot of really great texture. Alright, wet on wet is similar to blending, but that you don't really have to mix them completely together. You don't have to show both. You can basically just color mix on your paper in a section. So without having to get like a piece of paper or whatnot, it's color mixing basically there. 2 wet papers. Combine painting techniques. So you're going to combine them to do something new. So you can take like a wet on wet approach and do some sponging on top, whatever you want down there. You're taking something that you've learned in here and putting it down there. And then blotting. Blotting is actually when you take a piece of paper towel, you kind of crumple it up a little bit, and you paint on that texture. And then you lightly touch it to the paper to make texture. It's really fun. And then practice whatever you need practicing here. This could be blending, this could be combining painting techniques, it could be dabbing, whatever you want, do it there. Last thing is that we're going to go back up here to outline and fill in. So when you go to outline and you fill in, you're making sure that you're taking a new color and you're filling in all of what you already painted as an outline. You don't want to see any of that outline color when you're done. Okay, so super simple stuff. Let us know what questions you have. Go for it.